So welcome back to the training today, the day 3 session, elastic block storage. So today we are going to talk about completely the storage technologies, what are the storage technologies available in the market, and what are the storage technology as of now we are using. So even though we are not working in real-time environment, and so what are the technologies we worked it. So and so what are the technologies available and on regular basis we are using and in and out, so everything we'll discuss.
Hi Mahesh, good morning.
Good morning. So today our agenda is to complete to discuss about these main points. So types of storage, and what is meaning of EBS elastic block storage, and what is meaning of snapshot, and EBS volumes types. So how many types we will be creating that, and so EBS snapshot pricing, and attach and detach the volume to Windows instance. So now let's move on to that storage types. So as of now we have four types of storages available: directly attached storage, network attached storage, storage area network, and finally we have the internet storages. So let's go to first one, directly attached storage. We simply be called as DAS. So example, so you're using your personal laptop, desktop at your home or your office. So you're trying to open and you're doing some work, and the data you're saved in the drives like a D drive, C drive, F drive, like that, in a folders. So basically the files are folders which is stored on the hard disk. The hard disk which is connected internally on your system, either laptop or desktop. So the hard disk is which is directly connected to your system inside, okay, which is inside, and with your motherboard. So the motherboard is a hardware component in your system, and which is connected to other hardware peripherals inside of your system, and to connect your operating system and managing it, and you're getting input output. Same way the motherboard is which is connected to one of the hardware peripheral is called hard disk, right? So we are connecting the hard disk like we have a SATA hard disk and IDE hard disk. So IDE hard disks are very old, and nowadays we are using SATA hard disk. Okay, so we are save our data. So example, initially we have a C drive, and that is you basically used for operating system drive, and another drive called D drive, E drive, F drive, like that. All your drives will be coming from your physical hard disk. So the physical hard disk which is directly connected to your system, that is called motherboard. So this is one of the best example for your DAS, directly attached storage. And sometimes you will store your data, you're not willing to store your data in your local system. That means local hard disk. That is called internal storage. And you want to carry your data somewhere else outside internet cafes, or might be you're traveling from one place to another place, and you keep your data in a secured way, and you're not carrying your personal devices like laptop and desktops. So in that situation, you'll copy the data to your external hard disk by using the USBs like pen drives. External USB hard disks nowadays we have available like Seagate passport drives, WD, Western District, Toshiba, Samsung. That different types of external hard disks are available. That also which is coming to dash only, directly attached, because of you are using the USB technology which is connected to your system, and you're copying the data and you're carrying the data from one place to another place. Yes or no? So now, apart from these internal hard disk and external hard disk, and the good example for your another concept of hardware is called CD-ROMs and DVDs. So you basically your laptop, which is right side or might be left side, we have a CD DVD tray will be there. You have to press your button on that CD DVD tray, and it will open, and you insert your CD drive and a DVD drive, and your watch your data like videos, etc., etc. That is also one of the best example for your DAS. And external hard drives, that also we discussed. Optical disk drives. Any idea about what is meaning of optical disk drives?
Is it external disk drive?
Okay. Any more examples?
CD drive or floppy drive, Mahesh?
That's correct. So CD-ROM or DVD-ROM also, your CD DVDs are external cassettes, right? So the CD or DVD cassettes will be playing with the player in your system. So that is a basically called optical disk drives. Okay. So that will be running with a small piece of hardware which is running with the lightning component. So the lightning component will be reading the data from your CD drive and DVD drive. Understood? So hope you are seeing in your uh, once you open your CD tray, or might be if you're dismantling of your system, so then you can able to watch that a small piece of uh, optical component will be see that. So through optic rays, and will be read the data from the CD drive and DVD drive. And nowadays, uh, previously almost 20 years back, we used a floppy disk. That also example for you for DAS. And finally, pen drives. So this, USB drives. That is one of the best example for DAS. So as of now, these are the DAS technology we used so on daily basis to store your data and you carry your data. The same type of DAS technology they're used by Amazon Web Services, the facility through EBS. So EBS is a service which is provided by Amazon, which is related to DAS technology, DAS storage, directly attached storage. So when you create any instance, so you want to store your data, you want to install any applications, you want to keep any important users data, etc., etc., everything on the storage by Amazon with the facility service name called EBS, Elastic Block Storage. So that is provided by Amazon. So let's connect to lab. Let's connect to the lab. Guys, this is the Amazon Management Web Console. This is a management console. Go to services, and in the left side, the second category called storage. This is completely storage. This is not related to EBS concept. So only go to compute service, which is directly attached, right? We are not going for external thing. So go to EC2. In the left side, there is a feature name called EBS, Elastic Block Storage. So in the Elastic Block Storage, we have a volumes and snapshots. So we need to discuss. Understood? Any questions? So before you jump into the EBS concept, so we will discuss another technologies introduction as well. Okay. I hope you are everyone clear on the DAS. Any questions on this?
So, EBS is basically not shared. So EBS is local to the instance, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
So let's move to that NAS, Network Attached Storage. So as of now, we used only the data for internal storage and external storage, and you're carrying through USB drives. Okay, USB pen drives, USB hard drives like that. But these drives are called as these drives are we can carrying from one place to another place. So whenever you connected to your system, then only you can access directly attached. Otherwise, it cannot be accessed. And the directly attached storage only can access only for single system. Not it cannot be accessed to another system. So the NAS technology, which is helpful not only accessing the data from a single system, the data can be accessed from another system over the network. So the data can access from another system with the help of networks. So the network, so only which is supported, that depends upon the distance, the distance. So within the limited area only which will be supported, not going for extended distance. So now basically in Windows or might be Linux operating system. So we used Linux file systems, Unix file systems, SMB or CFS file systems basically we used. So NAS based technology, the NAS based protocols will share the data not directly as a files. So the data will be shared through folder structure. The data will be shared through folder structure by using NFS. By using NFS. So NFS stands for Network File Share. Network File Share concept. So the network file share which will be accessed only through network concept, but the network folder, the folder can be shared, then only we can access from another system. If the folder is not shared, the sharing option is not enabled on the folder, so it cannot be accessible. It cannot be accessible. It cannot be accessible. So Amazon also will be provided same type of services with another name. So that is called EFS. So Amazon will be providing the same NAS services for our clients. So the service name called EFS, Elastic File System Services. But do you know the shared folders cannot be formatted? Why? Any reason? So example, we have 5 systems in our data center. So one of the system, I make it as a central library. I created one folder, the folder name called team share. I copied and some important data and I enabled sharing facility on the folder, and the sharing path is shared to all the team members in our batch. So like Naresh, Helga, Sandeep, Tirumala. So I shared the the folder location to all the people. So will you be formatted the data without my permission?
No.
So if you formatted, what will happen? So we'll use your data, not only your data, the entire team data will be lost. Yes or no? So because of if the team, if example any data is a sharing, that is a very important data. So that is not only you're accessing, so data will be accessed to others also. So you'll be treated as a very important item. So for that reason, so if any data is created with EFS volume, EFS file system, elastic file system, so the shared folders cannot be formatted. So that means your data is more secure. Your data is more secure. Guys, we'll see in the lab in hand, so how it works, and with a live scenario we will see. Don't worry. Okay, now we are explaining the introduction of the storage technologies available in the world. I'm explaining to you. Okay, so we will take more time and we'll jump into the lab and we'll create one by one and we'll understand how it look likes. So do you have any questions on the NAS? I'm taking it as a no. Moving to the next slide. SAN. SAN also, which is closely related to NAS technology. That means the network can be accessible over the internet, but compared to the NAS, SAN is a high speed block level storage, high speed network block level data storage. So if any data is accessing through NAS technology, so the data will be very slow while copying the data, while write the data, while copying from one place to another place. The work will be very slow. Okay, but SAN is not like that. A SAN, a dedicated mission, a dedicated network will be aligned to only for data copying and data retrieving purpose. So that also will be run through a backend, a dedicated software, a dedicated hardware. Understood? So the software will use some advanced protocols, advanced protocols, and they will managing the file services. Okay, but one thing is the NAS drives cannot be formatted, right? But SAN drives can be formatted. Which are the drives which is created in the SAN that can be formatted? So we have a rights. So next concept. So what are the data you're creating? The storage you're creating on the SAN, you're accessing from somewhere else. Okay. So in NAS we called as folders, right? So we creating a folder and we enabling the shared permissions. But in SAN, we are not called as a folder, we will call as LUN. We'll call as a LUN. The LUN can be accessible by multiple servers and multiple users. So that means the target audience are more. So the LUN stands for logical unit number. Logical unit number. LUN stands for logical unit number. Guys, who is creating a LUN in your organization basically? Who is creating LUN for you?
I mean the network team, right?
No, as a storage admin. Storage have a separate team. So the person name called as storage administrator. So he will create a LUNs. Okay. But NAS folder who will be creating? Windows administrator. Understood? Windows administrator will create a NAS folders. But SAN folders, that means SAN LUNs cannot be created by Windows administrators or might be Linux administrators. Who will be creating? SAN administrator will create. We have a separate team called SAN team, storage team. Okay, guys, again, database team is different. Database team is different. Database team is example like a SQL team, Oracle team, MySQL team. So these are the team called as database team. Storage team is different. Storage team is SAN team, storage area network. So who is managing EMC SAN, NetApp SAN? Did you have the name in real time anywhere? EMC SAN, EMC storage, NetApp, anywhere? No idea?
No idea.
Okay, no problem. So these are the world popular network technology companies called EMC and NetApp. These are market leaders. They are market leaders. Okay, and if you are working in a company, you can talk to your storage team. You can ask them, so what are the storage technology you are using and what is the model name? You can ask them, they will tell you. Okay, and guys, so in the SAN we are creating a LUN, right? The LUN can be accessible by any service team. Any service team, example, guys, you know VMware? Any idea? You know VMware?
Yeah,
what
I'm
is
using VMware
what is the
daily.
VMware basically?
Well, it's used to create virtual
That's
machines,
perfect.
right?
That's perfect.
Yeah,
So
it's
VMware is
yeah.
basically used to create a virtual machines. Okay. So any other examples? And it's basically it's a hypervisor. Yes or no? It's a hypervisor.
Yeah, it's a hypervisor, correct?
Hypervisor, and it follows virtualization technology. So hypervisor, it follows virtualization technology. So what is meaning of virtualization? Any idea?
Well, it's basically the act of say for example you have a host, you know, and then on that host you can uh, that host can be shared, right? You can create, you can, I don't want to say partition, but you can kind of create multiple machines that share common memory, common disk, and things like that, right? Virtual memory and virtual disk,
That's
right?
perfect
It's
answer.
a partition of that.
Uh,
Yeah,
and it can be storage, network, and kind of operating systems.
Yes, that's
you got it.
perfect
Yeah,
answer.
correct.
So
Thank
that means I will explain very simple way. A system inside we have a network, we have a storage, we have a memory, and we have a processor. So all the services will be sharing to multiple operating system in a single hardware device. That is called virtualization technology. Yes or no? So
you. Yes.
these technologies are supported with some software platforms. The software platforms we call as hypervisors, right? So now I'm taking one of the rack server. So might be the rack server we have a 500 GB storage or might be 250 SSD hard disk. Okay, that's a storage. But I'm creating 10 virtual machine on the rack server. So each server, I'm going to create 100 GB of storage. But at present, I don't have a storage on my local system. So where I need to borrow from the storage? I need to borrow the storage from SAN technology. Do you understand now? I'm creating an instance. The instance will be stored on the storage, not on the local system, which is from the network. So the system name called as SAN. So I will ask and I'll request to the storage team, hey, can you please create a 1 TB of storage, 1 terabyte storage for me to create 10 virtual machines, 10 servers on my rack server. So the storage team create one LUN, the capacity of 1 terabyte. That means 1000 GB they will create it. So how these?
So would you say that AWS uses SAN basically technology, and they use a hypervisor in order to have us create the EC2 instances?
Good question. So Helga is asking a question. Is Amazon Web Services using hypervisor? That means virtualization, and the storage technology that is called storage area network technology they're using Amazon. That's your question, right? Yes. So Amazon
Yes, that's my
services
question.
is follows and using SAN technology and virtualization technology. Okay. So now going forward, I'll explain very more deep concepts about virtualization and as well as the storage. So you will get more information. At present, I would not able to explain. So in going forward, we have more storage services are there. So I will explain in that area. Understood?
So, so Mahesh, while launching the instances, AWS generally uses virtualization method, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, definitely. Whenever you're creating any instances on AWS console, that backend, the instance will be created in one of the rack server, okay, by using the
Okay.
virtualization technology.
Virtualization method.
So
Okay.
they are not giving dedicated physical hardware. So there is a pool of hardware will be available in the AWS data center, and when we creating an instance and based upon our region specific example, now I am in EC2 console. So now I am creating the console is right now in Mumbai. It is in Mumbai. So whenever creating any new virtual machines in Mumbai location we have a 3 data centers, and one of the data center, so based upon availability, so we can directly choose which data center you want, or else automatically it will fetch which data center is available free resources compared to all the 3 data centers in Mumbai. Guys, a meeting is going to expire, so can you please join immediately? I'm end the meeting and reopening within 10 seconds. Join,
So
guys.
do we need to hang up and rejoin?
Yes, immediately. Thank you. So back. So basically, so Amazon Web Services will use virtualization technology and as well as storage technology. So that we'll discuss later in the time. So very simple example is when we create any instance. So on the particular region, the region have some availability zones that is called data centers. So example, India. So India is a region. So in that, the India is representing the region name called Mumbai. So in the Mumbai, we have a 3 availability zones. That means 3 data centers. So we can directly choose whenever you're creating an instance. So in the console itself, we have to choose availability. Okay. So now, and automatically the instance will be creating on the particular data center, or else if you leave it as a default, so the automated technology on the back end, it will check that compared to all the 3 availability zones, which availability zone, the which data center is compared to other data center is using less resources and free, and compared to the high usage. So which is the least usage data center is a primary contact, and the instance will be created on the particular data center location. So in that again data center, they have there are many servers which is connected on the data center location, might be rack servers or blade servers, etc., etc. So, and compared to the storage, compared to the usage of the servers, they have some frequency, right? So this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, like that. So based upon the least usage rack will be targeted and the instance will be created on the particular server. Okay, so this is the way the instances will be creating, and the same way the storage also will be using backend storage technology. Okay, whatever the storage they will be provided the internally for us. So I'll discuss later in that point, don't worry. And now, so compared to the now in a normal VMware technology, so I'm have taken one rack server. I'm creating a 10 instances. That means 10 virtual machines on the rack server. I requested 1 TB storage to the storage team. Storage team is created 1 TB storage LUN, logical unit number. But as a VMware administrator, how should I access the storage? So storage we have an address. So storage address will be there. That is called LUN address. Okay, that is called LUN ID, LUN address, both are same. So the LUN address or LUN ID, it depends upon how you are connecting. How you are connecting, guys. The data we can uh, uh, you have to connect from one system to another system. There are two channels will be available. One channel name called fiber cable, fiber cable. So and another one we have a bus adapters and fiber switches, etc., etc. And this is one model. And another model we called as iSCSI target devices, and we are connecting through Cat5 and Cat6 cables to connect to the LUN, to connect to the LUN. So if you are connecting fiber cable, if you're connecting a LUN by using the fiber cable, we are using WWN number. The LUN will be connected to your destination server by using fiber cable. The LUN ID we called as WWN number, worldwide number. Okay. And if you are using Cat6 or Cat5 cable, that is called protocol name called as iSCSI. iSCSI stands for internal small computer system interface, internet or integrated something. Let me check that. Yes, internet. So internet small computer system interface. So iSCSI. So by using Cat6 or Cat5 cables which is connected to your SAN LUN, so the ID name called IQN address. IQN address. So IQN stands for iSCSI qualified number. iSCSI qualified number. So if you are using fiber cable, using WW number. If you are using iSCSI, that is a Cat5, Cat6 cable to connect to your SAN LUN, that is called IQN address. So understood. So mostly these concepts which is helpful for when we are learning VMware technology and Citrix technology. That is a basically virtualization concept. So they are using a storage virtualization concept by using a SAN concept. Storage virtualization concept is nothing but SAN concept. Okay. Any questions? Helga, any questions to you?
Not really. I'm just asking if you have a VMware
Okay,
session.
yeah, fine. No problem. So next we have a fourth one, cloud storage. So cloud storage means storage over internet, storage over internet. So you know, well, example in daily basis you are using Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, etc. and this is a block level storage only. Sorry, it is not a block level storage, and it cannot be formatted. So it's just giving an access to the storage, and you keep your data, and you are doing whatever activities you are doing that, but cannot be formatted. And Amazon also providing cloud storages to the clients. So we have, there are two types of services will be there. One is a S3 simple storage service, another service name called Glacier service. Okay, so we will see going forward, so completely into the storage technologies, so S3 and Glacier as well. Okay.
Sorry, quick question. So with so if you and maybe you haven't got there yet, but if you're using dedicated tenancy, say for example, because there are some security compliance regulations, right? That may require you to use like a dedicated tenancy. In the case of a dedicated tenancy with AWS, do they um is that, will they give you the ability to create your own SAN, or I mean, like, is there any service for creating your own SAN, or that's just all done in the back end?
Okay, good question. So Helga is asking a question. So S3 or might be Glacier. These all are called a shared tenancy. So that means anybody can access so to S3 and store the data, and they can retrieve the data. So we are thinking like that. If all the data, so I'm my company data also I'm placing there, and Helga is running one company. She also will be store the data on the same storage service. So that means are both the data in same data center. Do you release any security? So for that reason, we will create any own storage channel. So that's your question, Helga, you're asking.
Well, my question is, sometimes, I mean, I'm coming from a security background, right? There's some federal regulations with regards to compliance, whereby, you know, you're not allowed, based on audit and compliance reasons, you're not allowed to build your solution on a shared tenancy, right? And say, I know that AWS offers dedicated tenancy, so I'm wondering whether when they offer dedicated tenancy, um, I know that they give you your own host, basically, right?
Good question.
So in
Okay,
that case,
understood. Understood.
you be yeah will they be giving you the ability to create your own SAN, your own virtual, I mean, yeah, that's the question. I think you get what I mean.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So yes, the same thing I'm going to explain in the same way. Whatever I'm trying to explain, I'm close to you. So this is a says three will everyone we are keep it our data in common storage. So due to some storage security concepts, why should I keep all the data in one place? I may lose your security, but as per the security concerns. So do you have any options to create a dedicated a server for to make it as a SAN server, and I keep it my data? So that's your question, I think. So now, yes, I can build my own server on the AWS cloud. That means you have to take a rented base hardwares, a dedicated location, and they will give you access to the rack, and you can build your own custom operating system, custom applications, and you have to buy your own licenses, and you have to build, and everything you have to take care of. So no one will not responsible for you. So AWS only they will charge network access, and the storage access prices, and the rental of your hardware. So only these three billing will be charged from AWS side.
Sorry, Manesh. So in that case, like, I'm sorry, I'm taking us back to
No problem.
SAN.
Okay.
So in that case, you know, the SAN will not be provisioned for you, but you will have to provision your own SAN, correct?
Yes, I can provide it. We have different types of softwares available in the market. Okay, so I can take one of the dedicated machine from the one location. I install the software on the particular server. Example, I purchased one server with 20 terabyte storage. So I install the software and install the license and make it as a SAN and within my network. So the network, you know, right, VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So within the secure boundary, I am allowing only to access within the network. I don't want to access to anyone from the external network level. So I'll provide a more security with the cloud security concerns. I'll only allow to access only within the permitted subnets and within the VPC networks area, the cloud area.
Yeah, I guess my question is who's going to be responsible for for provisioning the SAN and the cabling, all that? Is that going to be AWS or is that going to
Yeah, cabling
be
wheels,
me?
everything is ready. Everything is ready in the data center. Just only you have to select the configuration. So example, you want to take a the concept called dedicate host. The model of the instance
Yes.
name called dedicated host. Okay. So going forward, we'll learn that definitely. So we have a spot instances, schedule instances. So there's a kind of model is there. So the model name called dedicated instance. So dedicated instance means dedicated host. There's a physical rack will be
Got it.
given to you. Okay.
Yeah, so that rack, that's my question. That rack will include a SAN.
No, that is the only physical server. That's only physical server. Example,
Okay,
when
okay.
you buy any rack server like HP or Dell, so initially you will set up in your LAN your power plug and you're providing an IP address. So then after you will be connecting through ID rack or might be Dell remote access controller. So if it is a HP server, it is called with ILO, integrated lights out. So this kind of
Yeah,
consoles will be they provided to you. So the consoles we can use and you can connect and you can change the password and you can install the custom OS. Custom OS means you have to use based upon your requirement operating system and you have to
yeah.
install the license also.
Yeah, that's clear. I was just trying to figure out
Yes.
where the SAN comes in place with AWS. I mean, I guess from what you're saying, there is no real service for SAN, right? I mean, this is SAN is going to be the underlying logical technology that AWS uses.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of a user, we're not really going to be doing these things, right? That's why we're in the cloud. I mean, as far as the SAN is concerned, they would use that to create those storages, correct?
Yeah, definitely, but it's a very high cost. Dedicated hosts are very high cost. Okay, so
Correct. Okay, thank you. Clear.
only some extended users they're using those kind of servers and dedicated level. So they need a good performance. Huh? So for that requirement, any dedicated application they don't want to share like your questions like security complaints. So those people only they'll be targeting for dedicated host. Okay. But
Makes sense.
most
Thank
of
you.
the people they will use only instances only. That's called pooled instances, right? So
Clear. Thank you.
move to that EBS. So let's go for a lab. So and I'll simply and next 2 to 3 minutes I'll explain how to create an EBS and all. So tomorrow session and we'll go deeply and what is the EBS and EBS some the backend process and the complete informations, the pricings, everything I'll explain tomorrow. And today I'll simple lab will be I'm taking care of it. So go to your lab, and so first we need to launch one instance. So I will target in Windows instance only. So my background is from Windows. So now create instance and choose Windows, hit enter. and now I'm selecting Windows 2016. So we have to choose only free tier instances. That means a free tier AMS only. And by default, I'm selecting T2 Micro. So now here, I told you, no. So whenever you creating an instance, by default, so we are not selecting anything, right? If you want to specifically, you want to create an instance on dedicated availability zone, that means dedicated data center in Mumbai location, we have to choose that. This is a data center 1, this is a data center 2, this is a data center 3. So this is a name will be like this: AP South 1A, 1B, 1C, like that. But I'm not using any options right now. So going forward, definitely we will see. So at present, I'm creating only one instance. Click on next, storage. So whatever the instance you're creating initially, so for Windows, it will give 30 GB of storage. So the 30 GB of storage is coming from EBS, Elastic Block Storage. Okay. So you want to create any additional volumes also, it's coming from EBS only. So for Linux or Windows. So both are depending on EBS volumes in AWS. So now we have a types will be there, volume types. So tomorrow we'll discuss. So what is meaning of general purpose, what is meaning of provisioned IOPS, and what is meaning of magnetic standard disk. So those things we'll discuss. Okay. And at present I will go with the GP2, that's called general purpose SSD, solid state drive. SSD stand for solid state drive. So tomorrow we'll discuss about what is meaning of a SATA hard disk and what is the meaning of a SSD hard disk. Okay, nowadays we are not using ID hard disk. ID hard disks are very old, and in trend we are only using SSD hard disk and SATA hard disk. Okay, so now mostly nowadays the trend is SSD hard disk is very faster than SATA. So click on next tag. So now I'm add a tag. So creating the tag is name. So N should be caps and remaining small. And the server name is web server 1. So now click on next security group. I don't want to select any new group here, and I'm use existing security group, and click review on launch, and click on launch here, and I use existing key pair. Okay, sorry, I creating existing key pair. The key pair name is called web server 1. Okay, so let's check web server 1, the previously I created, whether it is available or not. Let me check that. Yeah, it is there. So now I select a web server 1, I acknowledge the accept and terms and conditions, and next launch an instance. When I launch an instance, after that you can click view instances here. So now instance is creating. So during the same time, if you check the elastic block storage, the volumes, the volume also creating. The related for the instance, the 30 GB, the volume is created for web server 1. Understood? This is coming from EBS. See.
So the volume can live without the instance, right? I mean, if you kill the instance, the volume is persistent.
Kill means you want to terminate. That
Terminate,
means
yes, sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Correct,
If
yeah.
you terminate the
Okay.
instance, yes, definitely the backend, the volume also will be deleted permanently. Okay.
Oh, okay. So that means you could use this volume on another instance, right?
No, if you want to use the volume for another instance, so you want to detach the volume before you terminate the
Yeah, yeah.
instance, then you can
Yeah, okay.
use that volume to another instance. But if you are not detaching the volume and you are deleting, the data will be gone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I wasn't clear about that. So I mean that if you terminate the instance, the volume will persist and live still, even with the instance terminated. So that that I'm asking. So if you initiate another instance, you can use this volume for another instance while it's not while there is no running instance that's using it, right?
Yeah, definitely we can use this. So if the volume
Okay.
is
Okay.
not assigned to any instance, if you are already assigned also, you can detach it. So by using this option called detach volume, example, see here. So we have option called detach volume. Currently the instance is running. So while running instance, we cannot, sorry, it is a detach is option is there. Delete volume is not applicable. Detach is possible. If detach, and we can attach this volume to any new instance. Okay, example, web server 2 I created. So now I detach this volume and attach to the another instance. But without detaching the volume to the instance, if the instance is right click and power off and terminated, the backend associated volume also deleted from the EBS service.
Okay. Okay. So even while the instance is running, you can detach the volume.
So even the instance is running, the detach volume is successful. That's your question. So let's see here.
Yes.
So go to actions, detach. Yes. No. Why?
No.
Because of the operating
Yeah,
system
makes
is
sense.
running. So why should I remove it? Okay.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you are working on the server and someone will be removing it, so that will be very big problem for us. Okay.
Yeah, because when you were launching it, I saw delete termination, right? I mean, I saw one checkbox
Where?
when you were launching the
Okay.
instance.
When 1 minute, I'll show you that. So going back to the instances console and creating an new instance. Next, next. So here
Okay, you see delete on termination right there. So
you
that's
have to
that's what
uncheck.
what my question
You have
was.
to uncheck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's my question. Like, I was asking whether a volume can persist
Uh,
even
that
when you
depends
delete
upon
the
the
instance.
account to account. If account is creating a SOP document, that's a standard operating procedure. So if the instance is creating, so you want to use this checkbox means you want to use the checkbox. Okay. If the project is willing to do not delete the storage, so even though instance is terminating, okay, so the time we
Yeah.
had to uncheck this. But I think my experience, so for root volumes we will use this delete on termination, but any volumes is creating additionally, okay, so we are not using the delete on termination. So why? Because if example, this EBS volume will be considering as a D drive for an instance. Okay. So the D drive is the customer data or might be any application data you store there. So if instance is deleted, you don't have any problem. Only the first drive is deleted, the second drive still visible on the EBS volume console. So that drive can be attached to the another server. It will be very safe.
Okay.
If you are
So
selected,
you mean
it will be deleted.
okay? So you mean like in normal in day-to-day practice, day-to-day workflow, the root volume is less than likely you retain the volume. Most of the times you delete it because it when you terminate the instance, because it's, I guess the root volume would be like your C drive.
That's correct. It's a
Okay, so
standard drive. So
okay,
example,
so
if a
that's where
project if a
your
project
operating
is running with the
systems.
Windows
Okay,
2016 operating system and some
got
limited
it.
applications, so that will be stick on the root volume only. So if the
Makes
instance is any
sense.
problem, immediately we'll delete the instance and we recreate the instance from uh, the instance creation immediately.
Okay. I mean, sorry. I mean, sorry. I'm going a little further with this
No
question, but you mentioned the NFS, right? So if you're creating an NFS storage, I assume that, I mean, you wouldn't be putting down the root volume. You would have some other volume that you'd be creating, like this second volume.
So
or
NFS volume is
okay,
not coming here. This is the EBS volume. This is a DAS concept, directly attached storage. So elastic file
okay,
system is related to that one. So EFS, elastic block storage. This is the one,
got it.
elastic block
Okay,
storage. So we have a EFS is different one. EFS is different one. Go to again AWS Management Console. So here you have to type EFS, elastic file system. So from here we can create. So we have a separate
okay,
concept. We'll discuss later on. Okay.
okay. And I was just trying to figure out, you know, why you would have a second drive, but I guess, sorry, second volume, but I guess things like data store, you
D
know,
drive,
like a database.
D drive or E
Yep.
drive like that. Okay.
Okay, okay, thanks.
So tomorrow we will see some advanced concepts in EBS, and we'll do some couple of lab scenarios. So in and out we will check that. Okay.
Perfect.
Any more
Uh, um,
questions? Final call.
I'll take the question offline actually.
Yes, please. Okay. So I'll answer the questions offline, Helga. Okay.
Thank you.